As a reader of many self-help books, I can easily say Think Like a Monk, written by Jay Shetty, doesn't have much to offer which is different from other self-help books available in the market. The big question then is, why at all read Think Like a Monk? And the answer lies in two facts. One, we constantly need to be nudged in the right direction for us to take action. And second, this book covers a wide perspective covering many aspects to be synthesized in one single book. Jay begins this book by describing what is meant by monk mindset, a mind which is calm and peaceful and free from all worries and negativity is a monk mind. Now, this kind of a mindset, as per author, is not an option but a necessity. So without further ado, let's dive into the top 10 key takeaways from this book. Takeaway number 1. Let values be your guiding star. Like a dusty mirror cannot reflect back, a clouded mind cannot guide correctly. Our mind is clouded by impressions others have about us. A good friend of yours tells you are smart and witty, you start believing her. Your boss in office flaunts wealth and you start associating money with success. You switch on the TV and you see a movie star dressed impeccably and you start imitating or copying her dressing style. It's not wrong to get inspired by others, but inspiration which is not aligned with our core values or beliefs only leads to mental agitation and chaos internally, leading to exhaustion. Hence, it is important to identify your true values. And that brings us to the second important lesson from this book. Befriend silence. To understand and discover your core values and beliefs, befriend silence every day, even if that means only for few minutes. Media, friends, society, parents, and education. They feed our mind constantly with news, views, reviews, and opinions, leading to distraction. Spending time in silence, even if that means only for few minutes daily, will help us declutter our mind and get aligned with our internal values and core beliefs. The author also suggests to take out some time every week with a change in environment just to reflect back on the happenings of life to get in touch with our inner selves. Repeating the same routine at same time and same spot every day leads to automation in mind, which helps in conservation of energy and helps in habit building. And this is the third important learning from this book. As the author says, time has memory and location has energy. Something similar has also been suggested by a lot of habit gurus. In case you want to get into details of habit formation, do check out my earlier videos on the topic of habit formation. Time and money are two important resources and the author suggests to audit them regularly. How much time do you spend working and how much time do you spend with your family? What kind of media content do you consume and how much time do you spend on social media and various apps? These are some of the key identifiers which will help you understand whether your actions are aligned with your core values and beliefs or not. In case you find a discrepancy, realign your actions to match with your values and beliefs. The author also delves upon the topic of negativity. Now, negativity can be of two types. It can be internal and it can be external. On the topic of external negative influences, the author says, since humans are social beings, we are bound to interact with variety of other people. Now, those people can be negative as well as positive. In case you cannot completely avoid interacting with negative people, fix the amount of time you spend interacting with them. The author also suggests to have at least 75% of people amongst your social circle to be kind who have positive influence on you. Now, in case you ever doubt the importance of choosing the right company, remember what Dumbledore told Harry.
Why then did the Sorting Hat place you in Gryffindor?
Because I asked it to.
Exactly, Harry, exactly. Which makes you different from Voldemort. It is not our abilities that show what we truly are. It is our choices.
It's on you. To deal with internal negativity, the author suggests us to remain mindful of any negative thought that erupts in our mind, and the moment the same erupts, we should practice to exchange that with positive thoughts. Here the author gives example of Brian Acton. Brian was rejected in his job interviews from Twitter as well as Facebook. However, Brian did not get disheartened. In fact, he went on to believe that something good must be in store for him in any situation. With that resolve, Brian went ahead and co-founded WhatsApp and WhatsApp was later bought by Facebook for 19 billion US dollars. On the topic of motivation, the author suggests that there are 4 kinds of motivations driving all our actions, and those are fear, desire, sense of duty, and love. As per the author, the first 2 motivations, which is fear and desire, can never be self-fulfilling. They cannot provide us peace and calm. Fear leads to excessive self-worry and would hinder us to give our best. And desire for personal accolades and materialistic comforts can satisfy our ego and satiate our senses in the short run. However, it will leave us unsatisfied and wanting for more in the longer run. On the other hand, duty towards fellow beings and passion towards a particular cause will keep you endlessly motivated. As passion will drive your interest and duty bound, you will keep spreading positivity and good deeds. Good deeds thus done will come back to you in some form or the other, thereby lifting you up in the positive spiral continuously. This will give your mind immense peace and calm, and hence you will remain endlessly motivated. The 8th important lesson from this book is around competence and character building. There will always be tasks which we love doing. Doing those tasks repetitively will build our competence. On the other hand, there will always be chores that we don't particularly like doing or dislike doing. You got my point, right? However, the author suggests that doing those tasks will help build our characters by strengthening our resolve and our patience. Competence building alone without working on character building is narcissism, and character building alone without working on competence is devoid of any impact. Hence, both are equally important, and this is a very important lesson from this book. Moving on to the 9th important lesson that I learned from this book is around following your bliss. Here, author gives the example of Joseph Campbell. Joseph, because of worldly pressures, could not pursue his interest in his professional mainstream. However, he continued to pursue his interest by reading and writing about Indian mythology and philosophy. Many years later, it was only when his book, The Hero with 1,000 Faces, was published did he become famous. And that led him to advise, if you follow your bliss, doors will open to you that wouldn't have opened to anyone else. Moving on to the extremely important final learning that I had from this book is keep your ego in check. The author says that the ego oscillates between 2 extremes. In its inflated form, it points towards futility of everyone else around us. And in its deflated form, it brings us crushing down, pointing towards our own self-worthlessness. In either case, if left unchecked, ego swings between 2 extremes, robbing our mind of peace and calm. And hence it's extremely important to keep our ego in check. That brings me to the end of yet another video. If you think my work adds value to your life, do subscribe to my channel. Stay tuned to Life Simplified.